Hello everyone! Bulletin boards are typically used in 4 different ways. These are decorative, display, informative, and the last one is interactive. Each is having different functions and different level of planning and effort to set up. There are 3 main types of bulletin board. These are display board, informational board, and interactive board. These are the examples of display board. Display bulletin boards do exactly what their name implies. They display student work. Often, display boards are used in the hallways outside of the classroom to showcase student work on a new unit or subject. Display boards are great for back-to-school night and parent-teacher conferences. They usually do not require a lot of planning or extra material. It is because the content is student-generated. It is important to change the display work often or the bulletin board quickly becomes visible stale. These are the examples of informational board. An informational board is a great way to reinforce a skill with a visual reminder. It presents new information in a visual format that will help your students who remember and comprehend the subject. Informational board can be created about any subject. They are ideal for traveling bulletin boards as well as wall boards. A trick for helping students focus on the material that is most important is to limit the visual clutter and highlight the text or pictures that are most important by placing a bright, bold piece of paper behind those items. This will help to draw the students' eyes to the places where you want them. These are the examples of interactive board. Let us now proceed to the interactive boards. Interactive boards is one where students have an opportunity to interact with manipulatives themselves. While it may seem like an easy thing to create, there are definite considerations that should be taken into account. The board should be at eye level, include color, be durable, and have clear directions about how to interact with it. So these are the considerations that should be taken into account in interactive boards. First is the accessibility, second is colorful, third is durability, fourth is instruction. So let us talk about first is the accessibility. An interactive bulletin board does students no good if they cannot reach it. When planning such a board, make sure that it is at their eye level and easily accessible for your hands. Since most bulletin board frames are at an adult eye level, you may need to paper the area below the normal bulletin board section to make it work. Let us now proceed to colorful. Visual interest is the key to keeping children engaged in interactive bulletin boards. Plain, boring boards with little color or visual appeal will not hold students' interest. Even if the topic is being covered is interesting, students will quickly become bored and uninterested. Take the time to add coordinate colors and visual appeal to your bulletin board presentation. The third one is durability. If students will be manipulating items on the bulletin board itself, make sure that the material you use is sturdy enough to withstand a lot of handling. Laminate materials that students will be touching and use the strongest Velcro or adhesive that you have available. By creating the bulletin board with sturdy materials at the beginning, you will save yourself time having to repair it over the course of its display life. So the last one is the instruction. Interactive bulletin boards should have clear, concise directions that are easy for your students to read and understand. If some of your students need extra help with reading, consider recording the directions and allowing students to play them back as needed. Ideally, an interactive bulletin board will be an independent workstation for students. So take their ability levels into consideration when planning activities and interaction requirements. There are also disadvantages and advantages of bulletin boards. Let us now proceed to the advantages of bulletin board. So one of the advantages of bulletin board is information, or it gives information. Bulletin boards keep people abreast of event, opportunities, and peer activities in school or at work. For example, is the college bulletin board, which is it provides information about everything from summer vacation job opportunities and forthcoming poetry readings to graduate, research opportunities, and student accommodation. Another advantages is the sense of community. Traditional and online bulletin boards can symbolize a sense of belonging and social cohesion. For example, is the libraries. It serves their local populations and are at the center of community activity, while a library bulletin board is an extension of this service and is a communal facility. Someone running a computer education program for seniors could post information about this on the library bulletin board. Another advantages of bulletin board is fostering inspiration. Bulletin board sometimes serves to inspire and motivate, encouraging the students by displaying their work. Classroom bulletin, for example, showcase students' pictures, poems, and stories to encourage them and make them feel that their talents are valued and appreciated. Another advantages of bulletin board is the efficiency. In a workplace environment, bulletin board can save time and promote productivity. A staff bulletin board offered as part of a company's internal extranet communication system save people the hassle of sorting through superfluous emails that aren't work-related. Another advantages is students are engaged to plan and work together. By means of this, students engage into cooperation and unity along with peers and practice of being a critical thinker by engaging into planning. The next one is the fundamental skills of the students are improved in all areas. By engaging into bulletin board display, their skills is being practiced and improving. The ability to think has been improved and the ability to be creative is also improving in all other areas. The last one is the continuous update of the inflow display keeps students engaged into brainstorming activities. So it is ideal to the students to engage in brainstorming activities in order for them to be a truly critical thinker. Let us now talk about disadvantages of bulletin board. So one of the disadvantages of bulletin board is distraction. Bulletin boards can be distracting to students. When teacher posts stimulating information on the boards, students may become more interested in paying attention to what's on the board than listening to the teacher. Colorful bulletin boards are especially distracting to the students with attention problems. This is according to Dr. Stanley Greenspan. Another disadvantage is student fairness. Some teachers use bulletin boards as a means of displaying students' achievement and good work that may harm student fairness. This can work as a disadvantage for those students whose work never makes it into the board. Using a bulletin board for this purpose leaves certain students out and can hurt their feelings. If your goal is to be a neutral and fair, post every student's work or none at all. The next disadvantages of bulletin board is clutter and confusion. A clutter bulletin board that is full of information can become confusing to students. If the bulletin board is where you post the emergency evacuation procedure, the lunch schedule, the information for the school play, and the classroom chores line up, your students may have difficult time deciphering the information. Instead of using a bulletin board for this purpose, you can spread out the information on different parts of the wall where the information becomes clearer for students. So another disadvantage is sharp objects. Bulletin boards use tacks and pins to hold up information being posted. Such sharp objects can become a safety hazard for those students in the classroom. Loose pins that falls to the floor or scrap against students can cause injuries. The last disadvantages of bulletin board is not very green. During this environmentally conscious age, the concept of printing paper and posting it on bulletin board is not very green. As a future teacher, I encourage you all to think about alternative ways to provide the information you need to for the students that doesn't involve using up as much as paper and ink. There was a saying, learn what you see. Visual learning has been highly encouraged in the schools to educate the students with ease. According to Dr. Richard Fielder, in the year 1980, has estimated the fact that visual learning helps the students learn in a better way. It has been observed that at least 65% of the students have turned into visual learner in 21st century. Another thing is using display in primary classroom. You have to consider the following. Ensuring involvement of the children by making a display associated with a specific lesson. Next is keep referring to the display during the lesson and allowing and encouraging the older children to put up the display themselves. And the last one is allowing and encouraging the students to contribute creative ideas and stimulate creative display. Thank you everyone!